I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to NNSCRA TV's coverage of race number 12 of the inaugural season of the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series, as we're ready here for the second road course stop of the season. This is Suzuka East Circuit in Suzuka, Japan. International racing this weekend for both the Lights and the Cup drivers. Cup drivers actually just got finished a couple of hours ago with qualifying for their event tomorrow. Maybe the biggest qualifying event that we have had so far this season, and probably that we will have the entirety of this season. But now 21 Lights drivers are ready to take to the track here today. 60 laps await these drivers at this 1.39 mile, 8 corner road course. On the pole position, this is a kind of odd one in the fact that normally you end up having the pole sitter be on the inside line of the first corner. But in this particular case, Eric Monaco is the pole sitter for today's race. The way that they grid up here is the pole sitter actually lines up on what would look like the outside line going into the corner. The rule of thumb here is that by the time they get through the S's, normally the car that is in the left starting lane is going to have more advantages through that area of the racetrack to be able to eventually get the lead, and that's why they start those drivers on the outside, what looks like the outside, I should say, of the front row. But Monaco coming into this one still gunning for that points lead. It has been a lot of fun to watch him and Benny Watson during the course of the last month or so battle for that points lead. It is a 2-point separation between those two drivers coming into this one. Watson over Monaco. Of course, both of them former winners on the season. Watson 2 victories, Monaco 1. Monaco would like to tie up those statistics here today with a coast-to-coast pole to victory here at Suzuka. We'll see if he can do it. Track position from what we saw earlier this afternoon in the Cup heats, the Cup qualifying, all that looks like it is at an optimal. However, these drivers will not be able to make it the full 60 laps without coming to pit road, so pit road could play a very important factor into the outcome of today's race as well. John Lightning Jr., he's been kind of on and off in terms of momentum in the last couple of weeks. Last week, he ended up gaining a spot in the standings. He's 31 points out, third in overall standings. Another driver with good starting track position here today. If he could translate it to a victory, he could be right up in the conversation for the points lead heading into our next race in about 3 weeks' time. Also, bear in mind, John Lightning Jr. is the only driver right now coming into this race inside the top 5 that doesn't have a victory. So you got to think that's got to be eating at him a little bit. He'll be trying to see if he can get his Toyota into victory circle here this weekend. On the outside, but technically the inside of row number 2 is going to be Kyle Langland, former winner on the season back at Devil's Bowl. Langland, last time out at Kansas Speedway, not the run that he was looking for, dropped 3 spots in the standings. He is 8th in overall points, 41 points out, so still mathematically has a shot to get back in the conversation here today. And Austin Reed jumped up 4 spots in the standings last week at Kansas with an unbelievable run. Finished up inside of the top 5. He is 4th in overall standings, 34 points out. Good starting track position for him today as he will roll off from the 4th position. You see Benny Watson, he's going to roll off from the 7th position. So once we take the green flag, Eric Monaco, live point standings wise, will be the new points leader. And it's going to be interesting today to see what happens with David Dixon, because as I mentioned, this is the second road course that we've been to this season. The first one was back at Mid-Ohio. David Dixon on fuel strategy went to victory lane. He's not up here inside of our top 10, so starting pretty deep in the field, we'll see if he can make his way up to the front. But enough talk, it's time to go down trackside and get those most famous words in motorsports. Time to go racing here in Japan.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Nice and easy, long day. It's going to be a lot of adjustments. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. This is a real race here. We're going to have a blast tonight. I can't wait to get out there and get going.
Making their way behind the Dodge pace car. Down into turn 1. 8 corners here at Suzuka East as they head here into turn number 2. Turns 2 through the center of 6 and 7. Considered the S's, the slower portions of the racetrack. This is into 3. And the right-hander into 4. Swings all the way around here before you make a left into 5. One more right-hander into turn 6 right here, and then you start to prepare for an elevation change as you climb the hill up here in the left-hand turn 7 and up into the somewhat paperclip-like turn here. There you see the uphill, you see the bump there. That's going to be unsettling these cars quite a bit, and then making the right-hander into 8A until the front straightaway back down to turn 1. Going to be a long one for these drivers here today. 60 endurance laps at Suzuka East as Eric Monaco sees the green flag waving, and we are underway. Monaco on it there for that start. Easily clears John Lightning Jr. John Lightning Jr. might have actually led off to tuck in line behind Monaco in front of Austin Reed. Slipping and sliding around here in the early going for these drivers on these cold tires. Not a lot of grip. They'll get a little bit of tire heat built up, be able to take these corners a little bit more aggressively as the run goes on. Then if they overuse them, then they'll be slipping and sliding around when the tires wear down. So it's kind of a good, bad, good feeling kind of scenario for these drivers, depending on how they're able to preserve the rubber underneath them. It's Eric Monaco down the front straightaway. He will lead the first official lap of the day here at Suzuka. John Lightning Jr. into second. Austin Reed third. Then Steven Burnside into fourth. Looks like Skylar Taylor maybe in the 5th position there as they cross the line. Skylar Taylor, 2 top 5s in the first 4 starts he's made here. Costco Toyota Camry, very impressive. Makes you wonder what would have happened if he had run all the races starting at Daytona. There's your winner from last week. Well, not last week, but last race I should say. It was 3 weeks ago. Cody Smart, the winner at Kansas. Jumped up 2 spots in the standings. Only 2 spots, up to 18th. That shows just how struggling a year they've had in the early going. Got some double wide racing back here on the front stretch. That's Nathan Stapleton on the inside of Benjamin Snyder. We'll see Snyder tomorrow afternoon as he was one of a couple of non-charter drivers that qualified into the Cup race tomorrow afternoon. Nico Servideo going to be making his Duracell Cup Series start. Benjamin Snyder making his, I believe, his second start. Yep, second start on the season for the Cup Series. The last time we saw him in the Cup Series, it was last time the Lights drivers were at a road course the weekend at Mid-Ohio. Benjamin Snyder ran full-time last year in the Cup Series for Lake Effect Autosport. Same car that Casey Hoyt has put in victory lane twice. Snyder almost had a victory for them last year at Sonoma. Right now he is holding down the 14th position. It's like a pretty good battle here for third, 4th, 5th. Austin Reed, Steven Burnside, and Skylar Taylor. As Eric Monaco pulling away, not by much, about maybe 4 or 5 car lengths back to John Lightning Jr. Madeline Crenshaw tried to take the wider exit out of turn 6 there to make a pass on Kyle Langland. This is for the 6th position. A couple of Fords. Kyle Langland, as mentioned before they rolled off the grid, dropped 3 spots in the standings. Last time out at Kansas to 8th. Madeline Crenshaw breaking into the top 10 in the 10th position coming into this one, so trending upward. Still looking for her first victory on the season though, as first, second, and third have kind of spaced themselves out. Burnside and Skylar Taylor battling it out for the 4th spot now. Stephen Burnside coming to this one 7th in overall points, 41 points out of the points lead. Still anybody's game. There's still a lot of season left to go, a lot of challenging tracks yet to be run. It'll be a bit of an a little bit of a break for these drivers here. 3 weeks until we get to our next race on the schedule for them. They'll be at the short track up in Connecticut, Stafford Speedway. That should be a good one. Had their fair share of different types of tracks here this season. Super speedways, 1.5 mile, short tracks, road courses. Even throw in the dirt track of Devil's Bowl into the mix. Well, sometimes it can be a help and sometimes it can be a hindrance to have a car in front of you. It can be a hindrance if you're faster than them because you have to adhere to their braking zone, but it can be a help if you're struggling to maybe follow and see where your strengths are to their weaknesses. As they make their way out of 8A, let's go on board with the Subway Ford Fusion of Madeline Crenshaw. Take a lap around Suzuka East. Up to 4th gear going into turn 1 from turn 8 down the front straightaway, but then the entirety of the S's from turn 2 all the way over pretty much up to 8A in 2nd gear. Doesn't take them long to complete laps here, less than a minute, somewhere in the 51 to 52 second bracket. So the laps tick away quickly. But the racetrack is a challenge every single time, and I'll tell you what, from personal experience, it is fun as well. Taking part in an event here. Got the checkered flag, as a matter of fact, but took part in an event here with the next gen cars, I believe it was. Or no, it might have actually been these 2015 machines. This racetrack is a lot of fun with the slipping and the slide and the unpredictability every single lap. These drivers are experiencing it here firsthand. They got points on the line. The event that I was in was a special event. There were no points, but they got points on the line here today. And Eric Monaco, at this point in time, is looking really good. He had that good starting track position after he qualified on the pole. For Monaco, believe it or not, that was actually his first pole on the season as well. And Monaco utilizing that to take the points lead into the next event at Stafford in 3 weeks' time, as Benny Watson right now is mired back in the 10th position. I believe Watson started the race from 7th, so he's lost a couple of spots since we went green. Mentioned about the fact that pit road will be a factor in the outcome of this race. They cannot make it the full 60 laps on fuel. The question is, though, how far can they go? Now, the number that we saw projected was about 34 laps that they can go. So you'd have to think somewhere in maybe the 30 to 35 lap range. However, with how slow these corners are, it could be an opportunity to be able to feather the throttle, save some fuel. It could press that window a little bit further out to maybe about 40 laps, maybe 45, depending on how much you can save. So it will be interesting to see. And the funny part about it is, too, we won't be able to necessarily, off of this race, gauge a perfect fuel window for tomorrow's Cup race, since it is a difference in physics. The Cup physics run here, CTS physics run over in the Cup Series, and Cup Series does not use nearly as much fuel, not nearly as much fuel consumption as the CTS physics do. So theoretically, these drivers here today should be able to go farther on a fuel run than the Cup drivers will be able to tomorrow. Still pretty close here for 4th place on back, Burnside, Taylor, and Langland. If you were expecting a lot of passing here at this racetrack, it doesn't necessarily happen. Pretty much it is driver versus racetrack and driver versus lap time. You're trying to kind of gauge the distance between you and the driver or drivers that you're battling, and then try to calculate if you make a pit stop a lap or two earlier, would the delta get you out in front of them or not? That's really where the passing here today and really tomorrow as well is going to take place, is on pit road. You make a mistake here on the racetrack, I guarantee you somebody will be there to capitalize, but Alan Crenshaw has been trying some stuff back here, trying to get around Kyle Langley. That's about the 2nd or 3rd time she's taken a wider approach into the entry of the corner to try and then dime it on exit. She did it before over in turn 5, and that time she did it in turn 6, trying to make her way around Langland to move up into the 6th position. Well, I mentioned about the fact that we had one previous race here for the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers at Mid-Ohio. To keep an eye on David Dixon here today as the winner of that event. Well, it has not gone well for him. He is right now running in last. And this is coming off of last time out at Kansas, where he also did not have the best of runs. He dropped 4 spots in the standings, and the 2-time winner finds himself outside of the top 10 in overall points, 11th, 47 points out. And it's looking like it may be another poor performance here today, unless they've got some kind of pit strategy figured out. David Dixon, the only other multiple-time winner besides Benny Watson on the season. His most recent victory coming back at Dover. Samet Ozkan back here. Samet coming in this one 14th in points. One of 2 drivers that has multiple poles on the season, Jack Mitchell back here in the 19th position. Mitchell's got 2 poles on the season. David Dixon has the most with 3. Cole Koibe back here, another driver kind of like David Dixon that's been dropping through the point standings. Last time out at Kansas, lost 3 spots down to 6th. First time in multiple weeks that Cole Koibe fell out of the top 5 in the overall standings. He's 37 points out of the points lead right now. It looks like the struggling year continues, at least at the moment here for Sophia Simon. Sophia Simon right now 20th in overall points. That's last of the drivers that have made now all 12 starts on the season. Only driver behind her in points is Skylar Taylor. That's because Taylor has made 7 less starts than Sophia Simon. Up at the front, top 3 have opened up quite a big gap. Monaco, John Lightning Jr., Austin Reed, back to the 4th place car of Stephen Burnside. So maybe between these 3 at this point in time, in terms of the pit strategy as to who might emerge with the race lead in the second half of this one, but As Eric Monaco crosses the line and completes lap 15, we're a quarter of the way through today's race here at Suzuka East. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back here to the action here in Suzuka, Japan. Eric Monaco looking for his second win on the season, first since Las Vegas, all the way back at the beginning of the year. Don't go anywhere. NNSCRA TV's coverage continues right after this. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Eric Monaco crosses the line as we're nearly a third of the way through today's event, more than halfway through the fuel run. These drivers will have to start considering when to make that green flag pit stop. As Monaco leads John Lightning Jr., Austin Reed, Stephen Burnside, and Skylar Taylor. That is your current top 5. All 21 drivers are still running, all 21 still on the lead lap at this point in time. Tomorrow afternoon, it's the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers here from Suzuka East. Earlier on today, we had our qualifying extravaganza, the 2 qualifying sessions, the 2 heat races. Figured out the 30 drivers that are going to make their way into tomorrow's main event. Some having to fall back on owner points. A lot of big names going to be missing out on the show tomorrow, including a couple of former winners on the season. Jessica Schulten, a 2-time winner on the year, going to be missing out. Matthew Rodriguez, another 2-time winner, not going to be in the show. I mean, there's some really big names that are down around that cut line, too, as far as battling for a wild card spot that aren't going to make it into tomorrow's event. So going to be shaking up the points for sure. Rob Evans and Kyle Matthews going to be your front row in tomorrow's Cup Series race. Both drivers looking for their first win on the season for different reasons. For Kyle Matthews, he's just looking to get back up there into a conversation for some kind of a playoff spot, as he has had a very struggling season, the former champion. For Rob Evans, he's been having a great season, been duking it out with Casey Hoyt for the overall points lead, but maybe more than anything, he wants to get that first career Duracell Cup Series win. He's got a I don't remember, what did we call it? It wasn't the was it the non-charter series back in the day in Season 4? Something like that. That might be what it was. A non-charter victory is what we called it at Indianapolis Road Course. But he's yet to actually win in a Duracell Cup Series event. We'll see if he can get that done tomorrow. Next weekend, it'll be just the Cup Series drivers. Lights drivers are off until Stafford in 3 weeks' time. Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers will be in the Bluegrass State, as we'll be ready for some 1.5 mile racing at the Kentucky Speedway. So tomorrow, Cup Series here from Suzuka at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next weekend, Duracell Cup drivers at Kentucky. Be sure to join us for all those future events, as Eric Monaco continues to show the way. This battle for fourth will not die. Skylar Taylor has been all over the back bumper of Stephen Burnside ever since they dropped the green. Just not been able to find a way around him. Kyle Langland and Madeline Crenshaw staying in touch here as well. And Burnside is going to be one of the first ones onto pit lane. Up ahead, Eric Monaco as well. So a couple of Chevrolets here coming to pit lane. And this is interesting because this is sooner than we had projected the pit stops taking place. This is about 12 laps sooner. So the big question here is, are they pitting where the fuel window is open to make it the rest of the way? Or if they're pitting now, can they not make it the rest of the way on just this pit stop? Would they have to pit again? I mean, right now, if 22 laps, the furthest those two drivers can go, they'd have to be back on pit road at about 16 laps remaining. Let's see if John Lightning Jr., who is the first lead change of the day, if he's coming in this time. Yes, he is. Ooh, nearly got the pit wall there. It's not a very easy pit road to get onto, especially when you've got that uphill and the car unloads on the bump. It's like Cody Smart also coming into pit road, our winner last time out from Kansas. That turns the lead over to the 24 of Austin Reed. So John Lightning Jr., by benefit of getting the lead when Monaco pitted, and Austin Reed getting the lead when John Lightning Jr. pitted, going to get the valuable bonus point for a lap led here today. And we'll see if the Tide Ride is going to come to pit road this time by or not. Looks like Nathan Stapleton might have already come to pit road. Document him. And here's Austin Reed into pit lane. Skylar Taylor going to come in as well. Kyle Langland. Crenshaw's going to stay out, though, and lead a lap. Maybe. Let's see if she does lead a lap here. Or does Austin Reed beat her to the start-finish line? Nope, she got the lap led. There's Eric Monaco back there. He's already completed his service. We'll see where he cycles around to. I believe right now he is a lap down, as is Stapleton and Burnside. You lose a lap here under green flag pit stop, but they will cycle around eventually. So Eric Monaco. Oh, I think Monaco might lose the race lead because John Lightning Jr. leapfrogged him. Look at that. John Lightning Jr. came into pit road one lap later than Eric Monaco, and he might be cycling out to the top position. Of course, we have to wait and see what happens with Austin Reed as Crenshaw is coming in. I believe Crenshaw was the last driver we were waiting on as well. Oh, nope, we had a couple of others. Sophia Simon, Cole Coybe. We were still waiting on them to make their pit stop, and I believe Benny Watson. Pit road very congested right there. A lot of drivers on pit lane at that point. And there you see Austin Reed leapfrogged both John Lightning Jr. and Eric Monaco. So he's going to go to the point, and look at this. Throw a blanket over the eventual top three when things cycle around. So it looked like the strategy of the undercut was not the way to go. It was actually waiting as long as you could to come to pit lane. Because Monaco was the first one in, then John Lightning Jr., then Austin Reed, and you can see the way that they line up after this. But look at them nose to tail here, and Monaco's trying to go for second place. Good battle here, right at the close of the pit road cycle. And Austin Reed is going to cycle back to the top of the board. He's not scored the leader that lap. Madeline Crenshaw still was scored the leader as she ended up winning the battle to the line right there on pit road. So Reed will be scored in first next time by, with John Lightning Jr., Eric Monaco right behind him. Bit of a gap back to the fourth place position. That is Skylar Taylor. Stephen Burnside will cycle into fifth, and there's Crenshaw, one of the last drivers to pit. She's going to be in the sixth position once all is said and done. Kyle Langland's going to be in seventh. Virgil Alonso, our winner from a number of weeks ago at Charlotte, will be in eighth. Cody Smart is going to be ninth. And looks like the 10th position is going to be Kat Batson in the 39. So everybody came to pit road there between laps 22 to 25. That, to me, if the projected laps we saw at the beginning of the race but didn't have as official was 34 laps, that says to me that they are going to have to make another pit stop. And more than likely, it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 10 to 15 laps to go. So if you are at this point, Eric Monaco, you're not out in front anymore. You've got the chance to have your pace be a little bit slower. Do you try and save a little bit of fuel here to go an extra lap or two than you would be projected, so that way you can kind of play the strategy that Austin Reed and John Lightney Jr. did of pitting 1 lap later, or in the case of Austin Reed, 2 laps later, and getting the benefit of the track position once everything's cycled around? Don't know. Does he have that as an option? Gonna try and see if he can get to the right rear quarter panel there. I'm sorry, that was the left rear quarter panel of John Lightning Jr. for second place. It looks like Monaco is faster than the 1. Just trying to find his way around. Turns are very narrow. You heard when we took the onboard earlier with Madeline Crenshaw just how much off the throttle time there is, especially over in the S's from turn 2 over to turn 6. The only time that you're really nailing the throttle down is here on the front stretch. All the rest of the time you're finessing the throttle. And that doesn't help when you're trying to make a pass, because normally when you're trying to make a pass, you're trying to either outbrake and rethrottle quicker than the driver around you. When everybody is just pedaling the throttle, there's no momentum to be gained and or lost, so everything kind of stays rather stagnant. Monaco swinging wide there off of 6. Trying to run some different lane to maybe get him alongside of John Lightning Jr. for the runner-up spot, but so far, not proving to be successful. If he could get the run right there off of 8A and stay to the left rear quarter panel, maybe he could outbrake him down here into turn 1, but he hasn't been able to do that as of yet. So Austin Reed, former winner on the season at Lucas Oil Raceway. 4th in overall points coming into this one, looking for his 2nd win on the season. After pit stop cycled around, is the race leader here at Suzuka East. 1 more pit stop looming for these drivers before the conclusion. The money stop coming up. And we're going to step aside for another commercial break. We'll be back here to cover the second half of this race here from Suzuka East for the Duracell Ultra Lite Series drivers right after this. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. Welcome back here to the 12th race of the season for the Duracell Ultra Lite Series drivers. 2nd road course stop in the season. International weekend here in Suzuka, Japan at the Suzuka East Road Course Circuit. As Austin Reed continues to show the way, we're into the second half of this race. 1 more pit stop on the horizon for these drivers before we will declare ourselves a winner. Austin Reed looking for win number 2 on the season to tie him with David Dixon and Benny Watson as a multiple-time winner here this year. Battle for 2nd, raging behind him. John Lightning Jr. and Eric Monaco. 3 drivers, 3 entirely different strategies in terms of their first pit stop. Eric Monaco was the first one in. John Lightning Jr. pitted the lap later. Austin Reed pitted the lap after that, and you can see how it cycled them around, with Monaco going from the lead back to 3rd. John Lightning Jr.'s position staying in 2nd, but Reed leapfrogging them both from 3rd up to the top position. So far, though, Eric Monaco holds the bonus point for most laps led. He's been out in front for 21 laps. That was the 9th lap led right there for Austin Reed. 2 laps led so far for Madeline Crenshaw, and 1 for John Lightning Jr. Those have been the only 4 drivers out in front, and pretty much those were all due to the pit stop cycle back on lap 22 to lap 25. Projected final pit stop of the day will be taking place somewhere around the lap 45 mark, in the vicinity of 15 laps to go, as it looks like John Lightning Jr. going to hold off Eric Monaco and put a little bit of distance between himself and the 4. For Eric Monaco, obviously looking for that 2nd victory, trying to go coast to coast after starting on the pole position. A little behind in terms of fuel, I would think, to the 2 drivers ahead of him, with him being the first one onto pit lane. But if he can at least stay up here, the good news for him is even though he may not take the checkered flag this weekend, he will be more than likely the new points leader heading into Stafford in 3 weeks' time, as his counterpart, Benny Watson, who was 2 points ahead of him for the points lead coming into today, is currently all the way back in the 13th position. Watson has lost a number of spots since the start, dropped back to around 10th place after he started on the grid in 7th, and lost a few more spots on the pit road cycle. So not a good day so far for the current points leader and potentially former points leader at the conclusion of this afternoon. Well, of course, for the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers, we have a number of weekends where we don't see them featured. There's 2, 3, 4 week spurts where they end up having a bit of a vacation before we see them back on the racetrack. We saw about 3 weeks from Kansas to here. We won't see these drivers for another 3 weeks until we get to Stafford. Obviously, the schedule for these drivers, the season for these drivers, much smaller than it is for the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers. They have 36 races. The Lights drivers only have 20. But some interesting racetracks coming up for these drivers here down this home stretch as we are more than halfway through the Lights season. Suzuka here today, Stafford in 3 weeks' time. We then have a stretch of, I believe it's 5 straight weeks where we'll see the Duracell Light Series drivers. You've got Atlanta after Stafford. The following week, Bristol Dirt. Auto Club Speedway. Going to be the week after that. That'll be the regular season finale weekend for the Duracell Cup Series drivers as well. And then as the Duracell Cup drivers begin the playoffs, we're going to be seeing the Lights drivers at Gateway, Nashville Super Speedway, Boston International, and of course the overall season finale, the doubleheader at the 2-mile track in the Irish Hills, Michigan International Speedway, for both the Duracell Ultra Light Series Championship and the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series Championship. So some very interesting tracks left on the schedule for these drivers, meaning this is the second and final road course stop for the Lights drivers. They got one more dirt track coming up. Some good short tracks coming up there. It's going to be interesting to watch these drivers at a couple of tracks like Nashville Super Speedway, Atlanta Motor Speedway. We've seen how they've been at the worn-out racetracks like North Wilkesboro. It's put on some good racing there. Charlotte was a good race. So it's going to be interesting to see how those particular racetracks play a factor into who could be the eventual champion. Austin Reed here today could be making a case for himself to be in that championship battle. Same for John Lightning Jr. They were 3rd and 4th. Lightning Jr. 3rd, Austin Reed 4th in points coming to this one. 31 and 34 points respectively out of the points lead. Now granted, they'll probably lose a little bit of ground to Eric Monaco, who's running in 3rd, but I think they're going to be up there mathematically in the conversation here going into our next events to be able to take the points lead if Monaco runs into a problem at Stafford next week. And this race isn't over either. Monaco, yeah, he's holding down a podium spot at the moment, but that doesn't mean he's going to keep it here in these next 20 laps. Let's drop back through the field here. Going to be another good race for Cody Smart. One race removed from his first victory on the season at Kansas. Right now holding down the 9th position. And Benjamin Snyder, I'm going to be very interested to see how he does tomorrow with the fact that he's getting 60 extra circuits here today that the Duracell Cup Series drivers tomorrow are not getting. So he will have that in his hip pocket. Granted, the Cup car is completely different from how the Lights cars handle, but reps are reps. Doesn't matter what type of a vehicle you're in. So Benjamin Snyder, keep an eye on him tomorrow, as he was one of 2 non-charter drivers that qualified in on time, on speed, to the Cup race. Nico Servideo tomorrow will be making his Duracell Next Gen Cup Series debut. Well, if Austin Reed is able to close out the deal today, it'll be the second time this weekend that a 24 car has taken a checkered flag here at Suzuka. Earlier on this afternoon, we saw Reggie Fogelman in the first heat race completely dominate that and lock himself into the main event field. In the 24 for Northeast Motorsports, Nick Gunther was the driver that took the checkered flag in the second heat. A driver that we know is very good at road courses. Last year, 4-time winner, 2 of those victories coming at road courses, Sonoma and the Charlotte Roval. Another team, though, kind of like we talked about, Kyle Matthews starting on the front row for tomorrow's Cup race, needs a good points day, needs a victory to kind of get the confidence back. Nick Gunther falls into that category as well. 4 checkered flags last year. This year, 0 in the win column and outside of the top 35 in points. So if the math is correct, we're about 4 laps out from when these drivers are going to have to make that final pit stop. And if the trend is the same as it was during the first cycle, you're going to want to be one of the last ones on pit lane. Austin Reed was one of the last of the top 3 out of pit road. He cycled out to the race lead. Madeline Crenshaw was one of the last drivers onto pit road overall, and she jumped up from about 7th or 8th up to 6th. We'll see if she plays that strategy again to maybe try and leapfrog the 11 of Stephen Burnside, maybe even the 54 of Skylar Taylor, and move up into the top 5. I believe Stephen Burnside was one of the first drivers on pit lane to begin the cycle. He and Nathan Stapleton. So we'll look to them to maybe be the first ones on pit road again on this cycle. Burnside right now the highest of those 2 in the 5th position. Actually, Eric Monaco was also on pit lane the same lap as Stephen Burnside, so we'll keep our camera focused on the 4 and see if he is going to be the Pied Piper on the second and final green flag pit stop cycle here. And we'll see if maybe it's a flip reverse. Maybe coming to pit road earlier this time is actually going to give you the advantage rather than pitting late. We'll see. We're looking right now at lap time. Granted, Eric Monaco is running behind John Lightning Jr., so that can affect the lap time a little bit, but I'm seeing about 9/10 of a second difference between his fastest lap and the lap he just ran. How about the clean air? Let's gauge it off of Austin Reed. Reed ran a 52.5, his best lap of 51.8, so there's 7/10 of a second right there in terms of tire loss, tire wear. So there's over half a second to be gained on fresh tires. And Madeline Crenshaw putting the pressure on Stephen Burnside right here. You have to wonder if maybe the fresher tires that she has is helping her. She's got about 3 lap fresher tires. Ooh, look at this. Gonna get alongside the right side of the Aldo's Pizza Chevrolet, and is that maybe the first pass we've seen all day under green flag conditions here ever since things got spread out? That could be the difference of the fresh tires there for Madeline Crenshaw. She's going to move up into the 5th position with that pass. So if Crenshaw can just gain some track position here, she might have something for the top 4. That time by, she was only half a second slower than her fastest lap. And Burnside very wide there out of turn 2. Opening up the door maybe for Kyle Langland to make a pass for 6th place. Burnside to pit road. I wondered if we were going to see him in this lap. But he's on pit road by himself. No Eric Monaco. Monaco going to stay out an extra lap here. So like I said, with the fact that he wasn't the leader on this stint, might have had the opportunity to save a little bit of fuel, extend his run this time. Burnside was kind of the leader of the pack that was behind him, so theoretically he wouldn't have had the luxury. He was more on defense than he was on offense, so he didn't have the luxury of being able to save some fuel there with drivers right on his back bumper. So who do we see here of our top three on pit road? Does Monaco come into pit lane this time by? No, he does not. Continues to stay out. Doesn't look like any of our other front runners are coming in just yet. Burnside, the only one up inside of our top 10, rolling the dice, trying the undercut strategy. We'll see if it works. I mean, if anything, I think that puts him up all by himself. Yeah, it does. Which you want clean racetrack to be able to put down those optimal lap times. You don't want to merge back out in traffic, so this could be a very interesting strategy call for him. We'll see if it works out. On the tail end of the run, he might be at a disadvantage in terms of grip and tire wear. But he's right now still on the tail end of the lead lap. And we'll see where he cycles around to. Nobody else going with a strategy like that. I like the call. Be different. Here comes John Lightning Jr. and Eric Monaco. They're going to try and undercut the race leader, Austin Reed. Second and third place. Skylar Taylor is going to come in this lap as well. Madeline Crenshaw, though, stays out. That cycles her up into second place. Kyle Langlin up to third. Crenshaw, though, currently waiting for Scory to update here. I want to see how far back she is from Austin Reed. I don't think she's going to be able to get the lead. She might be able to do something potentially to get up and battle with Eric Monaco and John Lightning Jr. About 5.7 seconds, they're saying. Madeline Crenshaw behind Austin Reed that last time by. And has the hand been forced for Austin Reed? Does he have to come in this time? Yes, he does. Crenshaw, I think, will stay out. She may stay out another 2 laps, as she can go a little bit further on fuel than everybody else. Kyle Langlin staying out as well. Is that Virgil Alonso back there? Yep, he's also staying out. Remember, we saw Virgil Alonso on pit strategy pick up his first win of the season at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So looking to do the fuel strategy again here to get a decent run. See who else we're waiting on to come to pit road. Looks like Roberto Crown Jr. We haven't talked about the 21 really all day long. The former winner at North Wilkesboro, 5th in overall points, 36 points out. It's been a very quiet day for him, which not in a good way quiet. He's been kind of persona non grata. Nathan Fogler, Sophia Simon, and Cole Koibe have all played the strategy of the long con here as Austin Reed. Looks like he cycled out ahead, way ahead of John Lightning Jr. Skylar Taylor got ahead of Eric Monaco. Monaco going to lose more spots here on pit lane. There's Cody Smart and Kat Batson, but we're still waiting to see where some others cycle around after all of this, as Aaron Macklin's on pit road, David Dixon, Jack Mitchell, Benjamin Snyder. Madeline Crenshaw is in. Oh, wait a minute. I think there was some contact on pit road because I see some damage on the... Wait, did we have a caution? We have a caution. Yellow flag is out. I was going to say, I saw some damage on the 52 of Virgil Alonso on pit lane, and the yellow flag is out. And these drivers here are still out there, and they're going to pick up the pace car. Roberto Crown Jr. inherits the race lead. But he's going to have to pit. So too is Fogler, Sophia Simon, and Cole Koibe. So I think the race lead's going to cycle around to Austin Reed, or I'm sorry, to Reed, I think. First caution of the day, right in the middle of green flag pit stops, and I think it involved the 52. Did someone get the pit wall, potentially? We saw how close they were to that pit wall coming into pit lane all day long. It looks like Austin Reed's going to be the leader, and I think that Madeline Crenshaw is going to cycle into second. John Lightning Jr. will now be third, with Langlin and Taylor going to be the top 5, and we're going to get ourselves a restart here. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. It's road course yellows here as well, so we're going to have to be very quick in this replay. Let's see if we can figure out what happens with Sergio Alonso. They've actually taken the 52 back behind the wall, so he will be the first DNF here today. Sergio Alonso was trying the strategy, and he indeed gets the pit wall. Everybody else has been able to avoid it all day long, but oh man, just barely hits it with the left front. And with pit road blockaded up and green flag pit stop still going on, race officials no choice but to throw the caution. With the 52 stopped right in the middle of pit road entry. Here's another look at it here, another angle. I think what happened is, I think his left side tires were in the grass and there's not grip there. You can't really turn. Your right rear is probably sliding underneath. And there's nothing he can do and can't turn the car. It goes straight, hits that pit wall. That is a tough break there for Sergio Alonso, who, as I said, was having a good run en route to finish inside of the top 10. Was playing strategy to gain some more track position, and unfortunately it is not going to pan out the way he wanted. He is going to more than likely finish last in this race. A number of drivers were on pit road at the time of the yellow, and so they're going to get trapped, I think, a lap down. As you can see, we're going back green here with 9 laps to go. Austin Reed, the race leader. He has now surpassed Eric Monaco for most laps led here today. Madeline Crenshaw will line up in second. John Lightning Jr. in third. Kyle Langland, Skylar Taylor going to be the top 5. We got drivers that are still kind of stuck here on pit lane. As the green flag back in the air, and Crenshaw right out of the gate. Going to try to get alongside of Austin Reed for the top position. Crenshaw looking for her first win on the season as they are double wide for 3 rows there. Langland looking for a spot on John Lightning Jr. Monaco side by side with Skylar Taylor. Looks like it did at the initial start of this race. Now the question is, who gets the advantage through the S's? Is it Crenshaw on the right, Reed on the left? Crenshaw will clear for the top position. Madeline Crenshaw on the Subway Ford is going to go to the point. Kyle Langland going to get the 3rd spot from John Lightning Jr. 5th place still under contest. Monaco on the right, Taylor on the left. Monaco going to get the entrance into 8 that he wants. He'll take the spot, but look who's right behind him. Benny Watson. This caution was a big break for him. Gets him back up into the conversation for the points lead. Now at this point in time, he's 3 spots on the racetrack behind Monaco, as here comes some drivers off of pit lane there. Nathan Fogler, Cole Coybe, Sophia Simon, Roberto Crown Jr., who is right now 1 lap down. Oh, Skylar Taylor just got put into the wall by Eric Monaco. Is that going to bring out a caution is the question, though. It's off the racetrack, theoretically. And yes, yellow flag is out. Caution going to wait for the 2nd time here today. As Eric Monaco just bullied Skylar Taylor off the track there. Taylor was looking for yet another good run in the limited number of starts he's made. And Madeline Crenshaw, who got the lead away from Austin Reed, will have to now go on the defensive on the upcoming restart, as she's going to bring us to the yellow with 7 laps remaining. So we should potentially get the upcoming restart, maybe in the 5 laps to go vicinity. And Skylar Taylor sits on pit road. Front end badly damaged after the contact off of turn 2 between himself and Eric Monaco. Let's go back and take a look at that. Pit road will be a ghost town here. Don't think anybody will be coming down pit lane. They've all got the fuel necessary to make it, and guaranteed nobody is going to give up track position. Here's a look at it here. Well, you know, I put the blame on Eric Monaco when we were looking at it happen live, but that was actually Skylar Taylor's fault. Taylor running wide there off of turn 2 into the right rear quarter panel of Eric Monaco. Monaco was just trying to make the corner, and it projected the 54 into the tire barrier, but Yeah, it was Skylar Taylor swinging wide and making the contact there with Eric Monaco, and unfortunately tire barriers met him. Damaged the front end of that race car, and could very well be the end of the day here for the 54 team. So quick yellows, they passed pit road entry, pits were open that time. There you see out of turn 2, lights immediately off on the pace car. Quickie yellows here, road course yellows at Suzuka East. Madeline Crenshaw now going to have to do the flip reverse of what she did in the last restart. Last restart, she was full offensive, got to the inside of Austin Reed going into turn 1. This time, though, she's going to have to get a good restart and make sure the 24 does not do the same thing to her. Timing of that yellow really hurt a lot of drivers. They were kind of stuck on pit lane with a closed pit road. So we only have, right now, 9 drivers on the lead lap. Roberta Crown Jr., who will eventually cycle up to 10th after Skylar Taylor has gone back to the garage area, is the first car 2 laps down. Everybody else behind him is -2. So they're all battling for 10th place on back through 19th in the closing stages. 5-lap shootout here to decide it at Suzuka East. Battle is on for second. Kyle Langland going to get alongside of Austin Reed. The restarts have been the detriment of the 24 cars so far here in the last 10 laps. Crenshaw got the lead from him on the last restart, and now Langland will get the second spot here off of turn 2. Reed drops back to third. John Lightning Jr. in fourth. Battle here not for position. Kat Batson in the 5th spot alongside of 2 laps down Roberta Crown Jr. However, Stephen Burnside in the 11 is for position. That's somebody that Kat Batson has to worry about here. Eric Monaco right there as well, and Benny Watson right there closing up the gap between himself and Eric Monaco. Monaco will have the advantage of the lap-led bonus point if it comes down to it. Right now, 2 positions separating these two, so Monaco has the points lead by 1 point as far as the live standings are currently. As right now, Blue Ovals 1-2. Madeline Crenshaw in the lead. Kyle Langland in second. Kyle Langland last race dropped out of the top 5 in overall points. Madeline Crenshaw moved into the top 10 in overall points. Crenshaw looking for her first victory on the season. Langland looking for his second. Austin Reed, who's led the most laps, currently in the 3rd spot with John Lightning Jr. and Kat Batson. Great run for her today, holding down the 5th spot. Well, Madeline Crenshaw played the strategy here today of the long con. Stayed out the longest of any drivers on both cycle of green flag pit stops. The timing of the yellow had her in second for the restart. She took the lead from Austin Reed. Got a great restart here on the last caution and has right now about a 3 car length advantage back to Kyle Langland. Also has the advantage of the lap times being few and far between of Kyle Langland being able to run down Crenshaw, take the lead, and eventually the race win. Crenshaw has to make sure not to put a wheel wrong, though. Good battle going on back here. I don't believe it was for position. Cody Smart, who is the last driver on the lead lap, trying to make his way around the lap traffic of Nathan Fogler and Cole Coiby. Try to get up there to Benny Watson to battle in the closing stages for 8th place. This is for position right here between Coiby and Fogler. This is for 12th. Benjamin Snyder and Nathan Stapleton, Jack Mitchell, all 2 laps down, all battling for positions here in the latter half of the top 20. As Madeline Crenshaw, the 22, just saw 2 laps to go. You know, we look at the Duracell Ultra Lite series, it's kind of a farm system. Young drivers trying to build a resume for cup teams to notice them, maybe offer them a eventual ride in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. We've got a good battle here between Burnside and Kat Batson, and Burnside's going to move into the 5th position here, coming around to the white flag. Michael Norman Motorsports, of course, a very prominent organization in the Cup Series. Madeline Crenshaw driving the Lights car fielded by that team. Got to think they'll be looking at her performance here today. Maybe consider her as a future driver for the organization up in the Cup Series. As you saw, the white flag displayed over her Ford Fusion. Madeline Crenshaw, about 4.5 car lengths back to Kyle Langland. Smooth through the S's here. Into 5. Through the right-hander of 6. Makes the left at 7. Will climb the hill up to 8A. Madeline Crenshaw, what a great job she has done here today. Working the strategy to gain track position on it on the 2 restarts at the end of this one. And Madeline Crenshaw is going to come down the front straightaway. And Crenshaw here in Suzuka, Japan is going to pick up the victory here. First of her career in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series. Popped up into the top 10 for the first time this season. Last time out at Kansas. 46 points out of the points lead. Keep an eye on this 22 car here down the home stretch. She may have thoughts for this championship. And remember, we don't talk about it as much as we should, but whoever ends up winning the championship here at the end of the season for the Duracell Ultra Lite Series drivers get a guaranteed chartered ride next season in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. So a lot on the line for these drivers here this season, and with the conclusion of this one, only 8 more races to get it done. Great race here today. Gives us a little bit of a template of what to expect tomorrow for the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers. A lot on the line in that one. Maybe a little bit of an idea of what to expect in terms of pit strategy, and I guarantee you that every single one of the 30 drivers that are going to be in that Cup race tomorrow kept an eye on all 60 laps here today to kind of formulate a plan, formulate a strategy, because this is the first long race of the weekend that drivers have had and showcased what can be done in terms of pit strategy. We had those shootout heats earlier on today. Not sure how much information you can garner in terms of the endurance races that we were going to see here this weekend, the lights here today, and the Cup drivers tomorrow. Standings are official, and here is a look at them. 9 drivers finishing on the lead lap at the timing of the caution. A number of drivers kind of got stuck on pit lane on a closed pit road and subsequently finished 2 laps down from Roberto Crown Jr. on down through David Dixon. But Crenshaw makes it a 1-2 finish for the Fords. Langland bringing it home in that second spot. Austin Reed, who led a race high 25 laps today, will finish the day out in 3rd, so he'll remain in the top 5 in overall standings. Same will be for John Lightning Jr., who had a strong showing in 4th. Stephen Burnside going to bring it home in the 5th position. We'll see if this is enough for him to get back up in the top 5 in overall standings. Kat Batson's going to bring it home with another great run for her in 6th. And how about this? Eric Monaco, Benny Watson. We said pretty much the entirety of the race it was going to be Monaco. Monaco, the points leader, going into Stafford. Well, he finishes 7th. Benny Watson, with the timing of those yellows, was able to move up to 8th, which means that Monaco, in positioning, gains 2 points on Benny Watson because he also led a lap. It's a dead tie between Monaco and Benny Watson for the points lead heading into Stafford Speedway. You can't script this stuff. This battle has been incredible between these two for the last 1 or 2 months. Cody Smart going to bring home the last driver on the lead lap off the heels of his first career victory back at Kansas. Top 10 run for him. Roberto Crown Jr., good run there in the 10th spot. First car 2 laps down. Roberto Crown Jr., we'll see if this keeps him in the top 5 in the point standings. Aaron Macklin, we didn't talk about the Nintendo machine all day long. Good run for him as he brings home in 11th. Nathan Fogler in 12th. Cole Koibe there in 13th, so a bunch of Toyotas. Benjamin Snyder, we'll see what information he was able to garner here today in preparation for his second Cup Series start tomorrow. He gets 14th. Nathan Stapleton in 15th. Jack Mitchell, Sophia Simon, Samit Ozkan, and David Dixon will finish out the rest of the drivers that finish the race under power. Not going to be another good points day for David Dixon, who lost 4 spots in the standings last time out at Kansas. He will probably continue to plummet in the point standings after this one. Tough break for the multi-time winner on the season, and the only driver coming into this race that formerly, as a lights driver, had a road course victory. 2 drivers out of the race at the conclusion. Skylar Taylor, who was involved in the second caution of the day. Herschel Alonso, who was involved in the initial caution of the day. 54 and the 52 will finish in 20th and 21st, respectively. But that is going to do it here today from the Suzuka East Road Course Circuit. Tomorrow, it's another endurance race as we'll be here for the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers. 30 drivers after we had earlier this afternoon the weeding out, I guess, of who was going to be in, who was going to be out with the qualifying session. Cannot wait to see what unfolds in tomorrow's event. But if you enjoyed today's race here from Suzuka, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We showed you full feature results, and you're now looking at the point standings as a result of the finishing order here from Suzuka. We will see you guys in 3 weeks' time, as we mentioned, for these Duracell Ultra Light Series next venue, as we will be at Stafford Speedway in Stafford, Connecticut. And of course, next week, the Duracell Next Gen Cup drivers, they will be on their own for the weekend at Kentucky. But still got to finish off this weekend here in Suzuka, Japan. Cup drivers tomorrow afternoon. Be sure to join us for that. But until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.